I like this age for all of us, so that we may enter into the night, into the moonlight. I don't know if Grandmother Moon will come up, but if she does, we shall see her. I must admit, I did have a hard time working through this, going, okay, what do I talk about? What do people want to know? Feel, hear, sense. And the sound of tranquility. I'm trusting that you hear the crickets. I am in my home, so there may be cars that go past as we sit here. Okay? And the sage is burning, and it will go and burn as it should. Okay? So you might see some sage going over. Yeah, I'm just trying to get the bowl situated so that it's in a good spot. I also have my dog out here with me. I live out in the country. So as you see, it is a little dark. I have some candles. Okay. I have a couple of these that are lighting. I do have an outside light, but at this point in time, unless there's movement over by it, it will just stay. So, a little bit. I am Kim Graham, and I have been studying Celtic and Native traditions for well over 25 years. Recently, I've been working in the field of body talk, essential oils, and I've dug quite a bit deeper into the moon. A lot of the studies that I've done all weave together because they are all one. It's something that is just inherent in the earth, something to live by, and it's easy enough to follow. So my talk tonight is going to be mainly around the moon, Grandmother Moon as I call her. And there's times that I call her Selena. And Nisa. Whenever she's full, she's Nisa. And, oh, sorry about that. She will just rise just over there. And it's fairly dark here. And in behind me are a row of maple trees. And over to that side, there's more maple trees. And that's where the road is. So every now and again, you might see shining lights coming. And possibly hear some cars going by. So please accept my apology for that right now. So why do I follow the moon? And what does the moon mean to me? Because it means something different to everybody. Right? It's basically this small object that floats around the earth. It takes approximately 28 and a quarter days to go around the earth. And in that period of time, as we all know, we have a full moon, we have quarter moons, we have half moons, which are actually the quarter moons, okay? We've got a full moon, and then we come back to the next half moon. And then we have something that I call the dark moon. Not everybody works with the dark moon, but I do. We've just had the last of 4 supermoons, So we're actually in the disseminating section of time. A time when things are decomposing. A time when we can let things go in a good and sacred way. You can let things go to whomever you talk to. This is non-denominational. This is an object in the sky that goes around. Okay? And with that, there's a lot actually riding on it, because the moon is different at different times of the year. And it depends on which calendar you follow as to what the moon will be like. Right? I follow the Celtic traditions. I follow Lammas, which we are just in the season of right now, and we'll be going into fall equinox, the time of equal light and equal day. Then we will go into Samhain, which is actually the Celtic New Year. Then we'll follow into winter solstice, which is the longest night. And then we come around and we come into embark, where we're sowing the seeds. We're starting to see the grass grow. And then into spring equinox of equal light and equal day, where the daylight is more and more each day. And it helps the seeds that we've sown at Imbolc to grow. And then we move into Beltane. Fertility abounds. We jump the fires. And we move into summer solstice, where we've got the longest day of the year. And then again into Lammas, the first harvest. So each of these has different moons. In each moon, you can actually work with it to help manifest. My apologies, the truck went by. You can actually help manifest what you want in your life. I was always taught you bring things in on the new moon, and you let things go at the full moon. And you take a look at the full moon of what is being illuminated in your life. For what's being illuminated in your life is actually a mirror reflection of what's going on in your own life. If you take a look at the moon is full, and it's actually the sun shining on the moon and reflecting back to us. So the moon is acting like a mirror. So it's actually helping us to see what's going on. And when we're looking at the new moon, it's dark, just a splinter. And the sun starts to shine ever so lightly until it gets to the quarter moon or the half moon. And then it goes and goes and goes and starts unveiling, starts growing. Okay? Why we bring things in on the new moon, because it grows until we see the full illumination. And then after the full moon, it starts waning away, going away, going away, going away, so that it's decomposing, it's leaving. Okay? Some people call it the disseminating moon at some point. That's okay, because there's different names for it. It all depends on what you're following in your own beliefs. Because there are some people that don't follow the Gregorian calendar. They follow the moon calendars. And they follow the time when it's new, the full to the end. And I've mentioned, I also add in there a dark moon. And that's a time just before the new moon. We're decomposing and we're asking the divine, whoever that might be for you, to take care of things that you no longer need. Things that are on your plate you want to do something with, but you don't know what to do, or they no longer serve you. So then you can release it to the divine, and you can ask them to take care of it for you. And right at the time before the new moon, there's a period where you can just go, release. Always ask for gentle integration, divine guidance, divine intervention, and divine protection when you're doing this, so that you don't get messed up along the way. We'll just put it gently. Okay? Comes another card. We'll wait that one to go by. And when we're letting things go, we're taking it out of our own energetic field. So when you take something out of your energetic field, you want to make sure that you replace it with something. So you want to replace it with gratitude. Something loving, something nurturing, something that you believe is within you. A good feeling, even a hearty laugh, right? Something very, very positive, because you don't want what you let go to come back in. Okay? So then we get to the new moon, and we say, okay, let's manifest on the moon. Let's make our wishes, make our goals. Let's do this. And then we find out we do this every month, just like I did. And then you find out that things aren't happening, right? You want to manifest something and you're going, why? Why can't I do this? Why isn't this happening? Well, I found something out, and I've been living with this for the last little while, and I've been showing people how to do it so that they can do it themselves and empower themselves and be the best that they can be. So basically, depending on a couple of different factors, there's a wheel for each person. And in that wheel, there's 12 houses. Each of those houses has a personality. And depending on your own wheel, you deal with each of those personalities. And when we take a look at that wheel, we put our new moons on there for the entire calendar year, and we put our full moons on there for the entire calendar year, and we work with it. And each moon comes into a different zodiac sign. Right now, we were in the moon of Aquarius, the full moon of Aquarius. Right now, we're probably sitting in Pisces or Aries. I didn't look this morning to find out, because this is something that I've just done. And by the time that you get this, it's going to be a different one, because it changes every couple of days. In one rotation of a moon, the zodiac signs will all be there. Okay, so there's 12 zodiac signs, and they will all be within that 28.25 day period. So you actually do have to kind of watch every now and again. But on the new moon, I work with people on the new moon and on the full moon. Okay, so on the new moon, we take a look at what house it's in, the new moon, and what's the personality of that one. And for each person, it's going to be a little bit different, because it's going to land somewhere else on your wheel. And then you work with those personalities to bring in something along those lines. Yes, we all want to make money. We want that good job. We want that love in our life. We want health, wealth, peace. We want to get out of the city. We want to move into the city. And each of those personalities, we could take a look at it and go, okay, I want something in there. How can I make a goal or a wish based on that? Well, you can. You just need to bend it around a little bit and make it work for you. And you can actually go deeper, because there are natural houses, and then there's your house. Some people, like myself, I follow the natural houses, which is even fun here, because when I take a look at a medicine wheel for myself, I'm following the traditional medicine wheel. So I'm sitting here going, okay, it's double of everything, right? It's not a little bit of this and a little bit of that. It's a double of everything. So if we're working on Taurus, it's a double Taurus. We're working on Aquarius, it's a double Aquarius, okay? Whereas some people might be an Aquarius sitting on a Taurus space. So you get to work with both of them and the personalities of both of them. And people that I work with learn this over time. I typically have full moon and new moon gatherings, and they're always online. I got people from all over, and not always a big group. Sometimes it's just 2 or 3 people. Sometimes it's 15. It all depends on what people are working on. And once people learn how to do this, then they can do it on their own, because it only takes 15 to 20 minutes on a new moon and 15 to 20 minutes at a full moon. So also, while we're doing that, we take into account what I call seasons. Okay? Some people will say, oh, that date is Lammas. That date is fall equinox. That date is Samhain. For me, it's a season. It's not a specific date. It's a stretch of time. And typically, it's between the new moon and the full moon, or the full moon and the new moon. Sometimes it lands on that date. And that means the portal is very, very small. So it's very, very intense. And you do need to kind of watch that one, because we've just had a very intense Lammas, because it was very, very short. Okay? And I haven't looked to see where the full moon and the new moon are going to be for around fall equinox. But I have a funny feeling it's a larger one, so that we can all balance ourselves out, right? Because it's a time of equal light and equal day, right? So you've got approximately 12 hours of light and 12 hours a day. And I watch the actual times on, I think it's time and date. You can actually take a look on how long the sun is up or how long the moon is up, that type of thing. And I take a look at that. So I don't actually hit it on a calendar day. Sometimes the calendars are right. Sometimes the calendars are off by a couple of days. But that's okay, because a lot of people may not follow it. And do they need to know, right? But if you're actually following it, you're actually taking a look at that type of information so that you can actually make your goals and your manifestations, or your releasing at the appropriate time, so that you're not losing, right? And you're working with the rhythm of the earth. And that's basically what we're doing here, is we're working with the rhythm of the earth. This is what we did many, 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 many years ago, before any of this technology came in. And like I was at the full moon gathering the other day, the farmers were all out harvesting. I live in an area where there's a lot of people that do traditional farming. And they don't have the big lights on their tractors because they don't use tractors. They have Clydesdales or Peregrines, and they use those horses to harvest their fields and to sow their fields and to till their fields. So when we've got a full moon, they're going into the night because the full moon is up and it's lighting their field, and they can actually see what's going on. So if you start to get into the rhythm of the earth, you can actually feel yourself changing bit by bit by bit. And that's, to me, what this fabulous and the forest is all about. It's getting back to nature, getting back to the normal, what I call normal, ways of doing things, of being yourself, using the rhythm of the earth to manifest what you'd like in your life and to bring it about. Some people will say, oh, well, I need a protocol. Well, if you want a protocol, that's okay. I can give you one, right? As we started out, I always start with sage. Sage is an energetic clear, like many of us understand and work by. We do sage, or we use an essential oil that's clary sage, or some people will use tobacco. Some people will use cedar. That's all good because you're clearing the air and you're clearing the energetic space around you, right? So it's only your energy that is there. It's like you're in a little bubble. Some people will put, together an altar and have everything on the altar. That's fine. Do I have an altar? Yes. I probably have several altars. And right now, my altar is a little TV stand, okay? TV tray where you put your food on and you eat, and a couple of candles, my phone, so I can talk to you, my sage bowl, all right, my matches, all right, and a couple of candles to light the night so that we can actually do this. And we can feel grounded and connected to the earth and feel the rhythms of what's going on around us. When we do this, we de-stress. So that's part of it. Some people will put a goddess or a god on their altar, an animal, a loved one, depending on the time of year. Some people will put fruits, depending on the season. Right now, corn is a good one because it's coming up, tomatoes, right? Because we've just come through the first harvest and we're heading towards the second harvest. So things you're able to reap. Some fruits, right? I've been harvesting tomatoes and zucchinis, some onions, right? So if I wanted to do an altar, I could put those on. And it'd be an earth-based altar because I follow an earth-based spirituality. Get my feet in the dirt as often as I can. Mind you, my feet might not be, as beautiful as some. I love people that go and get pedicures. I think I've had one or two, right? My feet might not be the nicest, but they're grounding. They keep me connected to the earth so that I can feel her rhythm and work with her, right? I never call upon and say, do this. It's, okay, can you help me with this, right? So when you're making a goal, you can actually work with an archangel, essential oil, a god or a goddess, because there's different ones that work with each of the zodiacs. And if you're having problems, you can actually ask them, can you help me? Like when we had the Leo new moon, Medusa was the goddess, and you can actually talk to Medusa. Be very careful. She's very strong, okay? And but she wants to help. She's a goddess of beauty and art, right? And unfortunately, the patriarchy decided to take her head, right? And now, when the patriarchy looks at her, they turn to stone. I always kind of chuckle because whenever they do something like that and do a movie with her, it's always the men that turn to stone, right? It's never the women. So I just kind of chuckle at that one and thinking, okay, is there something behind that? And has somebody done the research, right? But at that new moon, in the Leo new moon, we can talk to them and ask them to help us along, because we're never alone. Even though I'm sitting here, it's dark, right? There's very little light. It's actually quite nice, quite soothing. With the card went by. But we can actually ask them to help us along as we're manifesting. So say with the Leo, friends and family, we're a big piece of that. And like for me, it was, my Leo sits in an area that I don't work with too often. But I was working with one person, and their Leo actually sat in a spot of the Pisces. And with them working with it, around that there is an aspect of self-sabotage. And everybody freaks out and go, oh, self-sabotage, I'm going to sabotage something. It's the awareness that you might do that. So you don't want to sabotage your dreams, but you have an awareness that that is something that you do. So it's something that you can work on in your wish, your goal for that period of time might be to ask for guidance on how to not sabotage. So you turn something that could possibly be a negative and you turn it into a positive. And you work with that for the 14 days coming up to the full moon. And then we look across the wheel, and directly across the wheel is the full moon. So at that full moon, you sit there and go, okay, what am I going to release? And you just sit down and you find yourself a nice rock, nice stream. And you ask, okay, what's being illuminated in my life? What is right in front of me? What can't I see past? And you ask for guidance on releasing. And once you understand that, you can write it down, right? 2 or 3 things. Ask for divine protection, divine guidance, divine intervention, with gentle integration, and you release it. You release it into the ether. And part of that protocol is you write it down, you put it into a fireproof bowl, even a fire. If you're out at a fire, you write it on a piece of paper, you put it into the fire and you burn it. And you go, but I need to know what I released. Well, no, you don't, because you're asking for help in releasing. So you burn it, it turns to the ether, to the air, and it goes up to the divine. And the divine picks it up, because you've asked for divine protection, divine guidance, divine intervention, with gentle integration. So they will take it and they will assist you. And I always mention to people, write an affirmation as if this has already happened. So we're taking a look at self-sabotage. So the affirmation might be, I walk through life every day and I'm aware I may have a tendency to self-sabotage. I'm giving gratitude that I'm not doing that anymore. I've asked for guidance and direction, and I feel like I'm receiving that. Or it could be as simple as, I no longer self-sabotage because I'm aware that I do that. Simple as that. Write it out. Put it someplace that you might see it. Bathroom mirror, right? I've known people to write on their bathroom mirror with lipstick. Erasable marker. Put it on a piece of paper. Put it on the fridge. All right? I write on a piece of paper, and I do spend some time at the computer. So I put it at the bottom of the computer. And the one that I have at the bottom of the computer right now is, no matter where I look, there's always avenues to bring money into my life. It is definitely along those lines. Those aren't the exact words. I have to look at it to know, and I'm not at my computer, and I'm not going to run in and get it. Because we have an energetic handshake right now where you wanted to know a little bit about manifesting with the moon and understanding the moon. Okay. So in Imbolc, I sowed my seeds for the entire year. And as I go around each new moon and each full moon, I'm using that wheel for my largest goal. And as we hit each of the seasons, right, we hit spring equinox, where the sun is warming up, the ground is warming, and the little sprouts are coming out of the ground. So the seeds that I sowed at Imbolc are starting to grow and starting to come up. When I hit Beltane, okay, time of fertility, it's time to put fertilization on that. So when I did my new moon at Beltane, I used that energy to help fertilize the goal that I had at Imbolc. And then we got summer solstice, where the sun actually stops because it's getting lighter and lighter and lighter, and it actually stops. And then it goes back down. Okay? So at that one, I thought, okay, it's growing. And over the next little while, I should see some kind of a harvest. So then at the Lammas new moon that we just had, it's the, no matter where I look, there's ways of making money everywhere. Because it's shooting up here, it's shooting up here, it's shooting up here, it's shooting up there. And then it's for me to harvest that and to work with that. But I also know when we get to the next new moon and fall equinox, there's another harvest. Not everything grows at the exact same rate. So then I can harvest some more. Some more come up, some more come up. Ones that I didn't harvest are getting bigger, all right? So I'm using each of the new moons and the full moons to do this with. And I'm always grateful for what does happen. And yes, there are times that you sow seeds and they do not grow. Were they meant to grow? So we can actually take a look at that and go, okay, maybe I was supposed to let that go. So when we get to that full moon, it's one that we can actually let go and say, thank you very much. I know that I may not be able to harvest it right away, and it might not be something that I'm to focus in on at this point in time. But you never know, because not everything takes 6 months. It might take a year to come around, okay? So always remember that. And when it comes around again, we're going to get a bark. When it comes around again, you can actually use that time to develop it even more, and to use the full moons and the new moons to grow what you want in your life and follow the rhythm of the earth. So I know that there may be questions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put out an offer. I'm going to put in a moon planner. Okay, so you get a bit of an understanding. And with it, I'm going to put on some little extras. Okay, goddesses, right? Times of the year, maybe, right? Maybe some essential oils. I'll take a look and see, right? And you just need to put in your email address, and I will send you a PDF of that moon planner. It won't be your moon planner, okay? It'll be a moon planner that is of the natural houses, okay? If you want a full moon planner, I'm going to put a little tick box there, and you can actually get in touch with me and say that you'd like to take a look at it a little bit further, and we can talk. Talk is always complimentary, okay? So I trust that you're able to glean some information about this. I could probably talk for a couple of hours on this, and yes, I do spiral, and I do weave, and yes, it was a little bit of this and a little bit of that. I have to excuse me, I'm trying to figure out what's going on back there. And it's my dog. She's digging in the stones, so she's making a little bit of noise. So I also know with her getting up, it's time to go. So please have a fantastic night, and I trust that you will be able to manifest the best life that you want. Okay? So be strong. Ask for divine protection, divine guidance, and divine intervention with gentle integration. And feel fabulous in the forest.